Welcome to my tutorial on the basics of using Encore. Encore is a program used for exporting projects to DVD and to Blu-ray. And in order to do that, you have to have a Blu-ray burner or a DVD burner installed on your device, on your computer, to do that. So, gonna go through that tutorial. If you don't have Encore, by the way, Encore, if you have Creative Cloud, you have Encore as a free download. But know that Encore is not part of the CC package anymore. It was from CS6 way back when, several versions behind. So they stopped supporting it for some reason. I know that DVD is still popular, Blu-ray is still popular. People are still making them, so I'm not sure why they stopped supporting it. But they still have the software to install. They just don't update it or make it part of the CC package anymore. If you want to find it, all you have to do is go to the Creative Cloud, and you're going to go to your Apps section of your Creative Cloud, and you're going to scroll down until you find New Apps. And under Find New Apps, you should be able to find, you'll need to install Premiere CS6, an older version of Premiere, in order to install Encore. You install CS6 first, and then Premiere CS6, and then it will enable you to install Encore. Then Encore will show up. If you want to know the instructions on that, just go to Google, type in install Encore, and it'll bring up the very first hit here is Adobe's help on how to install that. And they have the instructions here, how you click on the Creative Cloud Desktop application, click on the Apps tab, scroll down, find New Apps, and then they'll go through the whole thing here explaining that you have to install CS6 will download, and then Encore will be installed along. Actually, you don't have to install it separately. I was wrong. Once you install Premiere Pro CS6, it installs Encore automatically as well. I think it uses Premiere Pro CS6 as its core engine. And then once you have that installed, you're ready to go. So let's go to Encore and start. Man, seeing that boot up, that looks ancient there with CS6. I do have another tutorial on how to do motion menus within Encore, but we're just going to go through the basics, getting several projects Encore here and do a basic menu. So I'm going to do a new project. I'm going to find a location like any Adobe product. We can go to a new location. I'm just going to go to my desktop and call this something like Final DVD. I'm going to put everything to DVD or to Blu-ray. I'm going to show you the route to do it to Blu-ray, but you can also encode it to DVD. So I'm going to hit choose my folder location, and name this project Final DVD Project or something like that. Okay, but now before I click Start, what you want to make sure, usually by default this has DVD selected. I suggest to everybody, whether you're doing DVD or Blu-ray, just always do Blu-ray, because Blu-ray will encode. You can convert your project from Blu-ray to DVD. You can't convert it from DVD to Blu-ray. So just always do Blu-ray, and you can change your setting, and then you can burn it to DVD if you wish. Just keeps everything in HD until you actually burn it to DVD. But then if you have to burn it to Blu-ray, you can. If you're in the United States, we're using NTSC. And default transcode settings here, I just leave it on default. You can change these later. If you have a whole bunch of stuff that you're putting on, you're trying to cram a bunch of time, like 2 or 3 hours onto a Blu-ray or a DVD, then you'll have to go into these settings and change them. And it even has an automated setting that will try to fit everything on the DVD for you. Because the more footage you put onto a DVD or Blu-ray, the lower quality it's going to make the files usually to make them all fit onto the disc. Consumer DVDs fit 4.7 gigabytes. Consumer Blu-rays will fit 25 gigabytes. So Blu-rays are significantly larger than DVDs and hold better quality and more footage as well. I'm going to hit OK and set up our new project. Okay, so once we're in here, I'm going to go to my Project tab here, and this is where you're going to import all your footage. First of all, I'm going to create a menu. Two major things within Encore that you got to know about are going to be menus and timelines. Once you kind of know how to work with menus and timelines, that's essentially your entire DVD. There's other functionalities, more complex and advanced options in DVD authoring, but we're not going to get into those. These are kind of the basics. So menu creation. If you want to, I'm not going to get into downloading templates. You can download templates and a whole bunch of templates for Encore. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to show how to make a custom one. I'm going to go under Photoshop to do that. Most files that we're working with under DVD and Blu-ray these days are no longer 4:3. That's the old square look, kind of like this shape right here. That's kind of a 4:3 aspect ratio. 16:9 is more of a widescreen aspect ratio, like a movie screen or an HD television or like most computer screens now. So I'm going to go under Photoshop New, and this is going to be my menu. This is where you're going to be selecting things, selecting your items to play here. I'm going to go under Preset. I'm going to choose Film and Video under Preset. I'm going to go under Size, and you're going to want to choose HD TV 1080p 29.97. Blu-ray plays at 1920 by 1080. DVD plays at 720 by 480. If you're doing widescreen, it's 720 by 360, I believe. It takes away some of the pixels to do it widescreen. But we're working 1920 by 1080 for HD. Just do everything in HD, and then we can compress it to DVD later on. So I'm going to choose DVD, 1920 by 1080, 72 resolution is okay for video. Hit OK. Now we've got now we can create a menu here. So what I'm going to do now within Photoshop here, this is not a full-on Photoshop tutorial, but I'm just going to show some basics here. I'm going to do Command O to open or Control O to open. I'm going to grab a file here. I'm going to grab this clouds file I've got right here. This is an image. I'm going to do Command A, Command C to copy. I'm going to go to my Photoshop file menu here that I'm making. I'm going to paste that in. There's a huge file here, so I'm going to do Command T, and I'm going to scale this down. I'm going to hold down Shift as I grab the edge, and constrain proportions. Hold down Option. I'll constrain it to the center point here. I'm going to put that in the middle there, and I'm going to make this big as I need it to fit it into my 16:9. Now basically you can put any images you want to in here for your menu. You can put any text files that you want to. I'm just going to put let's go under, I'm going to say My Great Movies. So here's a DVD with all my great movies on it. So I'm going to put that right there. Command T, make it bigger. All right, so this is going to be my opening menu. It's going to pop up and show this menu right here. Now, if we want to make what are called buttons to select movies, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go look at the movies that I have to use here. Okay, I'm going to go under my final DVD folder. I've added a movie folder here, and I've got 4 movies I'm going to be adding to this. These are little spoof commercials. They're little commercials that were shot just kind of as a joke. So don't worry about where it says Pop Pen, because I'm not really promoting pot. I'm promoting this commercial. Yes, that is like a joke about a pen that's laced with like drug tips or something. It's really stupid and funny. Anyway, so I'm going to go inside my, I'm going to look at the titles of these here. I've got a Doritos commercial, Final Pot Pen commercial, Power Loaf, and an Burger edit. So all these are 4 different commercials here I'm going to be adding to a DVD. So I'm going to make these, I'm going to put these in here as titles. I'm going to say Pot Pen. And once I find kind of a format that I like in Photoshop, like I said, if you want to go into another Photoshop tutorial of somebody else, I'm not a Photoshop guru, so I can't give you huge tips on Photoshop. I just kind of know the basics here. But you can kind of create a creative little menu here, a nice fancy looking menu that's going to show up in that's going to show up in Encore. So you can change text here, and you can just go down and find a different text. I don't know, I like that text. I don't know. Find something fancy, whatever. Once you find that format that you like, you can duplicate that. You can just right-click on it and duplicate that layer. And right-click on it and duplicate the layer. Okay, drag that down. So I'm going to kind of finish doing this here. I'm going to put all the names of my titles on here, and then I'm going to come back and we'll start from there. Okay, now that I'm kind of through building this here, didn't make it terribly fancy, but let's pretend that's fancy. I'm going to go under, I'm going to save this as a Photoshop file. I'm going to call this my main menu. Now one other thing I'm going to do here is I've got, so this is going to play a movie, this will play a movie, this will play a movie, this will play a movie, and this here will go to a contact info screen, which is another menu. You can make other menus, which are menus that will skip to chapters. It'll go to, you can categorize things, so you got commercials and movie clips and industrial videos or whatever, and you can put a whole bunch of things on one DVD, and you can have categories. You can say, you can have, like, this menu could say, commercials, then it could say movies, then it could say industrials. So then you have all these different, then when you click on that, it will go to open up a different menu. Then I'd have to have a menu for each one of these saying the titles of all the commercials and the titles of all the movies and the titles of all the industrials. So you can do several different menus. I'm just showing basically how to do 2 different menus here. I'm going to go to File, Save As. I'm going to save this as a different one. I'm going to call this Contact Menu because I'm going to use kind of the basic format, the same basic format here. Now that I've saved this as a copy, it's a different file. I'm going to just I'm going to start changing some things on here. On this one, this is going to be my contact information screen here. So contact information. Now actually a lot of this stuff I can get rid of here. I'm going to get rid of all these layers. I'm going to go to my contact information, just duplicate that, pull this down, and then I'll put my contact information on here. So we'll say my name is Ted Johnson. My number is 801 555 whatever. There we go. There's my phone number, email address, whatever. ted@fred.com. I don't know. Don't email that. I don't know who it is. So there we go. So I can get that ready to go. Now I need a way to get back to my main menu. I'm going to need a button, what's called a button on here to get back to my main menu. So I'm going to grab this. I'm going to duplicate. Hit OK. Grab that, drag it down. And I'm going to make a button here that says back to main menu. You have to think about ways of navigating back to other menus and to getting to other menus. You have to make buttons for those things. So I'm going to change this to white here. Since I'm down in the green grass there. There we go. And that's going to be my button right there. So I've saved that. And now what I've got, let's show you the files that I've created here so far. So I've got a main menu file. Let's open that up. There's my main menu. And here's my contact menu. Main menu, contact menu. So now I've got all my assets ready for Encore. I've got my main menu, I've got my contact menu, and I've got my movie files. That's everything I need for this DVD here. So I'm going to go to Encore. Within here in my project window, I'm going to right click and say Import As. I'm going to import something as a menu. First of all, you got menu and timelines. Menus are these items to select timelines and play timelines, which are basically movies. So I'm going to go to my final DVD. I'm going to find my main menu and open that. It's going to import that Photoshop file as a menu, which we're going to be able to create linkable buttons on here to navigate to our movies. I'm also going to import as a menu. I'm going to bring all my menus in. I'm going to get my contact menu, and that is imported as a menu. So, a couple things here. This is a menu icon. This is a menu icon. This one has a little play button on it. This one does not. The first one I brought in adds this icon to it, which means this is the first thing that's going to play on your menu. So that little play button basically means this is your first play. That's the first thing that's actually going to play when your DVD starts up. You can right click on this one and say, no, set that as first play, and then it will make that play icon go to there. But I don't want that. I want this one to be set as first play. If you have an FBI warning, you can bring that in as a timeline, and that'll be the first thing that plays. And then now I'm going to import as timelines my movies here. I'm going to go to my final DVD, my movies. I'm going to grab all 4 of these here and open, and it will import all 4 of those as timelines. Now what you've got here, you got to realize, is you've got the movie clip and the timeline. It's put the movie clip inside of a timeline. So I've got the asset plus the timeline with the movie clip inside of the timeline. So there's the movie, there's the timeline. If you don't want to see all the assets, you can go down to this little funnel thing, click on that and say, don't show me the assets, just show me the timelines. And sometimes, now all I've got are timelines with the movies put into them and menus. So that clears things kind of up. But if you need to access assets later on, you'll have to click on that and tell it to show assets. But I'm just going to show those for right now to make it a little easier to use here. Okay, now once I've got everything imported, it's pretty simple from here. All you got to know about DVD authoring in Encore is almost anything you, like the main thing you need to know is anything you select over here in the Properties window is going to have the attributes to create your navigation. Click on a menu, and it's going to show the attributes for that menu. You click on timeline, it's going to show the attributes for that timeline. You click on another menu, it'll show the attributes for that. And over here, the other thing you need to know is you got monitor for your timeline and your menu tab. You got your menu tab and your timeline tab. You got two tabs here that show your menus, and this shows your timelines. So if I grab my playhead and my timeline and play it through, if I switch to a different timeline, it'll just bring that up and show that clip there. There we go. And this will show whatever menu you decide to double click on. Double click on a menu, it'll show it in your main menu. Now, if you click in here like that, it's going to show the attributes for inside the menu. It'll show attributes for buttons. Whatever you click on, it shows the attributes over in the property window. That's really all you need to know for authoring. That's kind of like about the only main thing you need to know. If you know that, if you understand that, it's going to be easy to create your menu. It's very intuitive from there. I'm going to name my disk here, by the way. I'm going to call it movie disk. I don't know what to call it. Whatever. Just so the project, so the disk is actually named as well. That's where you name the disk. Okay. So let's start creating the navigation here. What I'm going to do is double click on my main menu. It's loaded. I'm going to go down to the Layers tab down here. And I'm going to create, it recognizes all these Photoshop layers. This right window right here will turn these items into buttons. Buttons that you can click on and choose to go to a different track. So I'm going to, my contact info has to be a button. Click on that. It adds all the button information. My Doritos has to be a button. Power Loaf has to be one. Burger, Pop Pen. That's in my great commercials. That does not have to be a button, but everything else in there is a button. Now watch this. As I select these are highlighted as buttons now. These are selectable regions here to select to play timelines. I'm going to go to my contact menu. I'm going to go down, and the only thing that has to be a button here is back to main menu. Just going to click that, and that's the only one that's made into a button right there. So those are now made into buttons. Now my next stage is to tell what these buttons to do. So I'm going to go back to my main menu. When this is selected, and the Pop Pen is selected, now remember the properties show up over here. I've selected this button and it shows its properties right there. I'm going to tell it what to link to when that button is selected. Link right there. I'm going to grab this pick whip, drag it over, and drop it on my final Pop Pen timeline. And when that is selected, it will play that timeline. Select the Burger, grab my link, drag it over to the Burger, drop it, click this button, drag this over, Power Loaf, grab this button, link, drag it over to the Doritos. There we go. All those are set. And just to make sure, you can click on a button. That's going to the Pop Pen. That's going to the Burger. That's going to the Power Loaf. That's going to the Doritos commercial. There we go. So those are all selected. But contact info, I have not done this one yet. Link. That is going to go to a menu. That will go to the contact menu. That will load the contact menu. So now that that's loaded, I have to go to my contact menu and tell it what to do. When this now it'll jump to this menu when you select that button. But now what to do to go from this menu back to your main one? I'm going to select this button and tell it to link back to my main menu. There we go. And those go back and forth. If you want to, you can look on your flow chart. Your flow chart will show, hit tilde over this, it'll show where everything's going from your main menu. The disk will load this main menu, and it can play this, can play this, can play this, or it could go to the contact info, or contact menu, which can go back to the main menu. So this basically shows your basic flow chart right there. All right, so I'm going to go to my contact menu. That's set. Now, one other thing I need to do here is tell this what to do when the commercials are done playing. When this one is done playing, what is it going to do? Let me go back to my main menu here. So the Doritos, when it's done, you go over here and say End Action and tell it what to do. When it's done playing, actually, let's start at the Pop Pen. When the Pop Pen is done playing, I'm going to go to the Pop Pen. When this track is done playing, I want it to come back and highlight Burger. So I'm going to go to End Action and drag it and drop it to that button right there. So when this is done playing, it's going to go back to the main menu and highlight this button. When the Burger is done playing, I want it to go to Power Loaf. So I'm going to go to Burger and drag this down to Power Loaf. When the Power Loaf is done playing, I'm going to go to Doritos. And when Doritos is done playing, I want it to go to my contact info. So it makes it as easy as possible. I hit Command S, save my changes, and there we go. Okay. One other thing you can do is you can add chapters. These are 30-second spots, so these aren't that bad, but I'm just going to add an invisible chapter in here so I can kind of skip to it when I'm testing my DVD. I'm going to go to my monitor and view this, and when it goes to the end of my commercial here, I'm just going to, like about a second before it's done, I'm going to add a chapter. I'm just doing this. You can add chapters and make a menu that skips to these chapters if you wish, and you do this the same way on a menu. When you go on a menu here, you can select this and tell it to play a chapter. You can make a chapter menu. When you do that, you just grab that. Well, let's create a chapter down here. I'm going to do a plus. It'll add a chapter right there. If I grab this button here, the link, I can tell it to jump to a chapter just like that. I'm not going to do that, but that's how you do that with a chapter menu. I'm just putting an extra chapter here at the end just to skip to test my DVD. I'm going to do this to all of these. I'm going to go to the end, monitor, and add that. Go to Doritos, very end, add that, Burger, add a chapter. Once those chapters are put in, I just put, like I said, these are not necessary, but I just like to put those in so I can kind of skip to the end of the commercial and make sure that it navigates back to the menu. So now I'm going to go up to this little play button right there. This previews your DVD and makes sure that everything is playing okay. This will act like it's loading a DVD in your DVD player and plays it from the beginning the way it will work on a Blu-ray or DVD. So you hit preview and it brings up. That's the first thing that pops up. Now it automatically does a highlight for you on those buttons. The first button that it brings up is the pop pen. It does this kind of this red highlight over the text there from the Photoshop file. I'm going to use my arrows. I'm not going to use my mouse. I'm going to use my arrows as if it's a DVD menu, or go down here. This is a DVD menu down here, or DVD remote down here. All the kind of the main features on a DVD remote. So you can test this and see how this works here. See, right now these kind of go, if you hit down, it goes all the way down here. And it jumps into this one instead of going to this one here. When I hit down, it jumps down there. So this is kind of not navigating the way I want it to. So that's kind of an easy fix. I'm going to show you how to fix that. But if I do left and right, it seems to do just fine. But when I hit down, it jumps all the way down to that one because it sees this one right below it. And this, it thinks it's going right below that instead of kind of going down here since I position these in a little weird way. So let's show you how to fix that. Down here under this window, this is this show button routing right here. This is going to help us navigate our buttons properly. If I click this, what this does is it brings up a little arrow system here showing where these navigate. When you hit down, this goes to, first of all, this middle button is the number of the button. This is 1. See, these are ordered weird. That's 5, 4, 3, 2. It should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what I'm going to do is change these. I'm going to, same as any fashion, I'm going to select the button with my button routing activated. I'm going to go over here and tell it this is button number 1. That's fine. I'm going to go to this one and say, no, this should be 2. And that kind of changed the order of everything here. And that's going to be 3. That's going to be 4. And that one's going to be 5. So now we're set on our button numbers. That's right, in order. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That middle button there. Now, when you hit your arrow down, or your arrow right, or your arrow left, or your arrow up, it's going to show it where it's going to go to. If you arrow to the right, this is going to go to 2. If you arrow down, this will jump to 5. I don't like that, so what I'm going to do is change the order here. Okay, right now it won't let me do it manually. This is a little confusing. You got to remember this. You have to click on the menu away from a button, and this little annoying thing pops up right here. It's kind of hard to find it, and it's hard to remember this, but I always have to search it out. This automatically route buttons is on automatically. I don't want that. I'm going to shut it off. And usually, if you layer these okay from top to bottom, it's gonna layer them it'll route them just fine automatically. But I did this weird little step thing here, where this is directly below, so it jumps to this one. So now I can grab this and I can drag button 5. When you arrow down, I want to go to 2. When this one arrows down, I want to go to 3. When this one arrows down, I want to go to 4. Now it's changed to 4. This one's changed to 3. This one's changed to 2. Same as when I arrow up. When I arrow up, actually that could go down to 5 there. I want this, when you arrow up, it goes to contact info. When this one arrows up, it goes to here. When this one arrows up, it goes to here. And this one arrows up, it goes to there. And then when this one arrows down, it'll go to here. So let's give that a try. See how that works. See if that's intuitive. When it goes left, it should go to, I guess contact info is fine. Let's give that a try now on it. So let's preview. Let's try our little menu buttons here. When I arrow down, goes to Uberger, Powerloaf, click, Doritos, click, goes to contact info. I click up. Oops. Back to main menu. There we go. When I arrow up, it goes to Uberger. I'm going to change this so it goes to Pop Pen when I. So let's get out of that. Exit here. Grab that, tell it to go to here when it arrows up. There we go. And when this goes down, I want it to go to there as well. There we go. It's just kind of figuring out where you want all these to go and kind of figuring out the most intuitive way to do that. But you have to click on the menu, uncheck automatically route buttons, and turn this little button thing on here. A little confusing. Now I'm going to turn that off, but now those buttons are routed. Also, one other thing. When I preview here, notice this turns to the, kind of this orange color here. If you don't like that highlight color, you can go up to Menu, and you go to Edit Menu Color Set. It's doing an automatic color right now. I can just pull this down and say Menu Default and start changing the default here. I can say Selected State. If I don't like orange, I can go to, I'm going to go kind of bright yellow like that. I don't know. Let's try that, see how that works. Kind of greenish yellow there. And when this is activated slate is what happens when you push the button. It'll quickly activate. It'll do a flash of red on that menu before it plays the clip, so it feels very tactile, like you're clicking a button and it's activating. So I hit OK. I'm going to do preview, and let's see what the colors are now. And it's kind of that greenish. I guess it was green more than yellow, but it's that greenish color now, the greenish highlight over these. There we go. So let's give this a test here. Let's practice. Let's see how this works here. Let's go to Pop Pen. I'm going to hit the middle select button and see if it plays. There we go, and it plays just fine. So I'm going to skip to my next chapter right there. Goes to the end of the commercial, finishes, and it comes back, and Uberger is highlighted. So that worked. Press select, plays the Uberger commercial. Skip to the next chapter, played it just fine. Powerloaf. Skip. There we go. And Doritos is highlighted, so everything seems to work. You want to test everything, just make sure that it works.
How are you feeling?
Works just fine. And let's try our contact info. Our contact info is selected. Select that. Goes to our contact screen. Back to main menu. I'm just going to put select. It goes back, and everything works. So there we go. Once everything works, you've tested it, and everything works in here, you're ready to burn. So I'm going to go to Build. If you have a Blu-ray burner, I don't have a Blu-ray burner attached, but what you can do is you can select Blu-ray, and you can tell it to go to Blu-ray Disc, Blu-ray Folder, which is a BPAV folder, I think. I can't remember. With DVD, it's Video TS, and with Blu-ray, I believe it's BPAV, if I remember right. Anyway, actually, I can tell you really quick. Let's go to Final DVD, because I built one the other day. It is a BDMV. BDMV is a Blu-ray disc. There's a Blu-ray image, right? It's not an image, but that is the Blu-ray folder right there. It's BDMV. That is the folder that's burned onto a disc that plays your Blu-ray, that navigates your Blu-ray. So I'm going to go back here. You can do Blu-ray folder, but then you got to burn it with something like Toast Titanium or some sort of burning program that burns Blu-ray discs or images. You can do an image to say preserve it as a final disk image, or you can just burn it directly to a disk from here. I do not have a Blu-ray burner attached right now, but once you attach a Blu-ray burner, you hit refresh, pull that down, choose your Blu-ray burner, and then you hit build, and it will burn it. If you're going to DVD, this is where it's important. Since we started as Blu-ray, we can downscale from Blu-ray to DVD. If you started with DVD, you won't be able to up-res it to Blu-ray. So that's why I recommend always start your projects in Blu-ray, no matter what. And I'm going to tell this to burn a DVD, and same thing. You have the same options. You can burn to a dual disc image. You can burn a DVD disc, a DVD folder, a DVD image. If you're going to burn directly to a disc, and I don't have a Blu-ray, I don't have a burner attached to my Mac, so but you'll connect it, refresh it, and you click build, and it will build it, and it will burn it, and then you can go stick it in your DVD player and give it a test. So that is really about it on the tutorial. If you have any questions, send me a message. Thanks.
You are so apathetic, you lethargic water buffalo. Why did I hire you? Those papers are supposed to go to know the difference between a computer and a dog's butt. Dehydrated paperwork, you indolent dead. You make me want to rest. This is the last time I hire anybody on a hobo's recommendation. Pull your head out and smell the cumin.
The all-new Paso Round Drug Pen from Slack. Now in 4 different drug-laced tips for when your workday is too stressful to handle. Discreet but effective. You'll sail through your workday like a feather on the wind.
What the?
Introducing the U-Burger 6-patty BFB.
That is totally gonna give you a freaking heart attack. Let's find out.
Did it serve thee well?
Hell yeah.
The 6-patty BFB U-Burger. All beef, all attitude.
Whoa.
Hey man, that's the last chip, bro. Take it, man.
Don't listen to that other bat. Give her the chip.
Wait, I don't... What are you doing? Bro, I don't... You're not...
Hey, buddy. How are you feeling?
Power loafing again? Bonuses all around.
Power loaf. The only meatloaf with crap loads of caffeine.